It was lap 4 of Lewis Hamilton's very first full-run simulation in the SF25 at Fiorano, when Ferrari's pit wall received the radio call that would set the tone for their entire 2025 campaign. "Brake feel. Something's not right," Hamilton said. Short, clipped, but loaded with significance. It wasn't a bedding-in issue or a brake temperature anomaly. This was deeper. The same driver who became synonymous with late braking perfection was telling Ferrari their brake-by-wire system didn't give him the confidence he needed, a revelation that exposed a subtle but potentially devastating flaw at the heart of Ferrari's title challenge. In Formula One, trust in brake feel underpins not just lap time, but driver psychology, tyre life, race strategy, and ultimate performance over a Grand Prix weekend. Hamilton's discomfort was immediate and unequivocal. This wasn't just different, it was wrong. How could Ferrari, with all its history and engineering expertise, produce a braking system that left one of the sport's most accomplished drivers feeling disconnected? The answer lies not in 2025, but in foundational decisions taken 2 years earlier, when Ferrari's braking philosophy was tuned around Carlos Sainz's feedback. A decision now reverberating through every braking zone and corner entry of this championship fight. To understand this brake balance dilemma, we must rewind to 2023, when Sainz, Ferrari's most meticulous technical driver at the time, consistently requested a more rearward brake bias and a smoother, less aggressive brake-by-wire response curve. His style emphasised entry stability, favouring predictability over sharp initial bite. Ferrari adapted. These changes were institutionalised over 2 seasons, quietly becoming part of the DNA of the SF25. Yet Hamilton's requirements could not be more different. He's famous for exploiting the limit at turn-in through subtle brake modulation at the threshold of lockup. At Mercedes, Hamilton had a brake-by-wire system tuned with hyperlinear response, a seamless relationship between pedal pressure and deceleration that enabled deep trail braking and fluid rotation at corner entry. The SF25 system, by contrast, feels muted and distant to him, engineered for a style of stability, not sensitivity. This isn't something solved by a few millimeters of brake bias adjustment. It demands a fundamental remapping of the brake-by-wire response curve, hydraulic assist profile, and electronic damping characteristics. Any such adjustment risks unsettling the balance of the chassis that has evolved around Sainz's preferences, and by extension, the compromises Leclerc has learned to accept. The human tension behind this technical conflict is palpable. For Hamilton, every lap in a car where brake feel is inconsistent erodes confidence. No amount of telemetry can substitute for the instinctive trust he requires to brake late and precisely rotate the car, a trust forged over years of machinery tailored to his feedback at Mercedes. For Leclerc, the stakes are equally profound. While Ferrari's rearward-biased braking never perfectly suited his natural style, he has learned to extract performance from it, becoming the team's reference point after Sainz's departure. But Hamilton's arrival immediately shifts the political gravity in Maranello. The weight of a 7-time world champion's feedback inevitably draws engineering focus. Fred Vasseur faces a classic Ferrari dilemma. Whose preferences should take precedence? In a season where marginal gains define championship outcomes, this decision will impact not just lap time, but the team's internal cohesion, psychological stability, and ability to sustain a consistent development direction. The championship mathematics sharpen this tension even further. After 12 rounds, Ferrari holds a 50-point advantage over Red Bull in the constructors' standings, a fragile cushion that could evaporate over 2 poor weekends. In the drivers' standings, Leclerc trails Verstappen by approximately 46 points, with Hamilton around 62 points behind. In this hyper-competitive field, every detail matters. A compromised qualifying lap, caused by hesitation at the brake pedal, cascades into a poor grid position. Greater exposure to midfield turbulence, tyre overheating, and vulnerability to undercut strategies. And the next stretch of races, Spa Francorchamps, Zandvoort, Monza, Suzuka, places extraordinary demands on braking precision and modulation at high-speed entries. Ferrari cannot afford a half-measure solution. Failing to resolve brake feel to Hamilton's liking risks not just isolated losses, but the erosion of competitive momentum, championship positioning, and driver morale. The brake feel dilemma becomes a barometer for how decisively Ferrari can respond when technical philosophy, driver psychology, and performance outcomes are intertwined. This situation echoes Ferrari's long history of struggling to commit decisively to one driver's preferences. When Sebastian Vettel joined Red Bull in 2009, Adrian Newey's team pivoted completely to Vettel's feel, from front-wing concepts to brake characteristics. The result was 4 consecutive world championships, even as teammate Mark Webber was left struggling with machinery tailored to another man's instincts. Mercedes pursued the same philosophy when they built their hybrid era dominance around Hamilton's driving style, emphasizing rear stability, strong traction on corner exit, and a brake-by-wire system that provided absolute predictability under extreme pressure. Ferrari's tendency over the past decade has been different, seeking equilibrium between two driver styles, which has often resulted in a car that fully satisfied neither. The brake feel dilemma is the latest manifestation of this hesitation. With the next major regulatory reset looming in 2026, history makes clear that teams who commit early to a driver-centric design philosophy seize the initiative in these generational transitions. Now, looking ahead, Ferrari's immediate calendar will lay bare the consequences of their decision-making. Spa's brutally heavy braking zones at the end of long straights, Zandvoort's downhill braking at tricky angles, and Monza's sharp stops from 330 km/h all expose any deficiency in brake feel and modulation precision. Ferrari's engineers face a binary choice: incremental tweaks that partially appease both Hamilton and Leclerc, but please neither fully, or a decisive recalibration around Hamilton's style, risking alienating Leclerc at a time when both drivers remain mathematically in contention. This isn't just a technical dilemma. It's a test of Ferrari's ability to evolve beyond a culture of compromise and embrace the ruthless clarity that defines their championship-winning rivals. And every engineering debrief, simulator run, and practice session will reveal whether that cultural shift is underway. In the broader context, the brake balance crisis exposes a deep and lingering question about Ferrari's identity in modern Formula One. Their rivals have already made their decisions. Red Bull will build around Verstappen, Mercedes around Russell. Ferrari remains trapped between two poles, accommodating two world-class drivers without fully aligning their machinery to either. This indecision has become symbolic of Ferrari's struggle to reassert dominance in the most competitive era in F1 history. The upcoming regulatory overhaul represents a rare, generational opportunity to reset their DNA, both technically and philosophically. For Ferrari, it means more than producing a fast car. It means choosing who that car will serve. Hamilton's dissatisfaction with brake feel is not merely a technical gripe. It is a symptom of this larger identity crisis. Will Ferrari continue to hedge between philosophies and fall short? Or will they summon the courage to commit fully, decisively, and early enough to seize a competitive advantage? The outcome of this debate will shape the rest of the 2025 season and define Ferrari's trajectory for the next era of Formula One. In the paddock, the stakes could not be clearer. This is not simply a question of brake feel. It is a referendum on Ferrari's ability to learn from its past, act decisively in its present, and build a future worthy of its storied name. At its heart, this isn't just a debate over brake feel. It's a pivotal moment in Ferrari's story. In a championship season where every detail matters and every decision has cascading consequences, Ferrari stands at a crossroads: adapt, align, and commit to a clear driver-led philosophy, or continue balancing competing preferences and risk losing their hard-fought momentum. The brake balance crisis may seem like a technical subplot, but it is in fact a mirror reflecting Ferrari's larger identity crisis, a test of whether they can evolve into a modern, ruthlessly optimized team capable of winning in Formula One's most competitive era. The decisions made in the quiet corners of Maranello today will echo not just through the rest of this season, but into 2026 and beyond. For Ferrari, Hamilton and Leclerc, the next race is more than a battle for points. It's a battle for direction, clarity, and ultimately the right to shape the future of this legendary team.